So fine. Now, yeah, so we have seen like some default. For the primitive data types, we have seen about the default values, right? So default values like for int, it will be 0. For all the these four types like byte, short, int, long, it will be 0. For float and double, it will be 0.0 like that, right? Similarly, for strings, what is the default value to which type, like they will be automatically initialized, to which value they will be automatically initialized. The default value is null. Okay, the default value for string is null. Okay. Differences between character constant and string constant in Java. Okay, what is the difference between a character and a string? So character means a single character in single quotes. Okay, string means in double quotes, any number of characters. Okay, character constant is enclosed in single quotes. String constants are enclosed in double quotes. Okay, that's the main thing. And what are the different ways to create strings? We have seen the three ways. One is using character array. Okay, we can create a character array and we can create a new string. And using the string literal, that means by using double quotes directly we can create a string. And the next one is using new keyword. We can use new keyword to create a string. Okay. Okay, fine. Now write a method that will remove the given character from the string. Okay. So we want to, okay, can you tell me like, how to do this one? Let's say like, I have some character. Okay, let me give you this one. Strings package. Okay, let me create a new one, new class. Okay. String example 4. Okay. Now let us say I have let me create a new method. Okay, public static void main string args. Okay. Okay. Now let us say I have this method and I have a string like string str1 is equal to some Java Selenium. Okay, I have this one. Okay, I would like to remove EA character. Okay, let's say I have two characters, A here. Okay, JA and VA. Okay, I would like to remove these two characters from this string. How can I do that?
Remove or like you want to replace it.
Yes, exactly. Remove means you're directly replacing it by blank, not blank, like without any value. So we can say like str1 dot replace all. Okay, replace all. Okay, a by no value, no value. Okay, if we do that one, then we can replace everything. Okay, string str1 is equal to str dot replace all. Okay, but again character dot to string of ch. Okay, so we have, okay, the thing is that we have character here is saying we have to replace a character, not a string. So let's say we have some character, char ch is equal to characters is generally in the single quotes. Okay, I have a character a like this, chr ch is equal to, okay, a. Now I would like to replace this one. So str string, let us say string str 2 equals to replace all. Then I have to replace this ch by, but it is giving it will give an error here. What is that error? System.out.println str2. Okay, but the problem is it will give an error here because it accepts only a string here, not a character. It won't accept any character here. So what we have to do is first we have to convert this character to a string. Okay, and then we can. So for converting a character to a string, we have character dot toString method. Okay, so we have character class where we can convert a character using dot toString method. Okay, dot toString of ch. Okay, we can convert it like this, and then we can remove that particular character from the string. Okay, if I run this one, Java application, okay, JAVA, right? So A is removed now. JV Selenium. Okay, so for removing a character, first we have to convert that character to a string, that is character dot toString. Okay. Okay, fine. Now the next one is how can we make a okay. So we have like two lowercase and two uppercase, right? We have seen this one. So how to make a string to a uppercase or lowercase using two lowercase and two uppercase methods. How can we compare strings ignoring case? How can we do that? Using equals ignore case. Okay, we have seen an example for this one as well. Okay, and explain how to split a string in Java. Yeah, so this is one more thing. So how do we split a string in Java? Okay, so let me show you this one. Let me create a new example here, new class file. Okay, string by public void, public static void. Okay, let us say I have a string str equals to I'll say like uh, Java Selenium tutorials. Okay, Java Selenium tutorials. Okay, now once I have this one, I want to split this one based on the space that we have, based on the space. Okay, so we have something called split method in Java. Okay, str dot split. Okay, if you see like there is a split method, and this split method takes like the character or anything that using which we want to split it. We want to split it based on space. So let me give the space here. So I can split it like this. Once I split using the split method something, okay, so it will be split into Java, Selenium, and tutorials, 3 words, right? And it will return an array. Okay, so whatever the values that we get by using this split method, we'll get them as an array. Okay, now if we see this one, let us see. Okay, so str dot split, let me give an array. So it returns an array of strings. Okay, so how do I declare an array? So this is how I do it. Okay, we'll see this one. Okay, declaring an array in the next chapter. Okay, for now just we'll use square brackets, and this is a string of arrays. Okay, and we'll give an array name ARR1. Okay, so now we got this one, this value. Okay, so this array contains 3 values because we have split it by using space. Okay, so it contains Java, Selenium, and tutorials. These 3 words it contains. Okay, we can print them using a for loop. Okay, mm, for int I equals to 0, I is less than ARR1 ARR1 dot length. We'll see like how to iterate through an array, all these things in the next chapter. Okay, ARR1 dot length, and then I I plus plus system dot out dot println ARR1 of I. Okay, now if we print this one, run as Java application. And if we print this one, we will see the 3 words Java, Selenium, and tutorials. Okay, so we can use the split keyword, split method, and a string to split it, okay, based on some value. Okay, so here we are splitting it based on space. Okay, so since we are splitting it based on space, we'll get like three values here. One is Java, another one is Selenium, and another one is tutorials, which will be stored in an array. For example, if I am splitting it based on letter A, so it will be first we will get j into one array, first array value, and then v, another array value, and then space selenium space tutorial, okay, and under this another value like this. After that we will get ls. Okay, so let me run this one, run as java application. Okay, so j one value, v one array value, space selenium space tutori one value. After that ls one value. Okay, so this is how we can use a split method. Okay, so yeah, I was like working on like one script actually yesterday. The script is like let me, yeah. In that script, like, there is one text that will be returned actually when we go to a particular screen, and that script will have like, some text, basic text like this. Okay. Something like, okay, token code is, this is just an example, like, where we use this split method and all these things. I'm just showing token. Okay. Something like this. Okay. Token. Okay. And then first name. Okay. Mhm. Okay, something like it will give like a lot of values actually. So, but this is like one example with three values I'm showing. Okay, so we have to verify that, like, we have to get this text from that screen, and we have to verify that the first name is Robert and last name is Williams, like this. So what I did was, like, I got that this whole string from here, and then the first thing is I have removed this flower bracket symbols by using replace all. Okay, and then I used the split method to split it by using comma, so that I will get these individual array values. Okay, and then I split these values again based on this symbol, based on this column. Okay, so that I will get these individual values. But again, the thing is that we have a space here, right? So we can use, like, for removing the white spaces, we can use trim method. Okay, trim method will remove the white spaces. White spaces means whatever the ones that we have before and after. Okay, so that we can get the actual value. Okay, do you guys understand this method, split method, or any questions? Okay, fine. Now let us say for removing the white space, okay, we have string str2 equals to, let's say I have a string, okay, and I have some white space like Java. Okay, I have some white space here. Okay, and if I print this one, system.out.println str2, let me comment this one. Okay, if I print this one, I get this white space. Okay, space Java. Similarly, I have like, let's say a lot of white space. Anything like, before and after. Yeah. Okay, so if I want to remove this white space, then I can use this trim method, trim. Okay, if I use this trim method, it removes the white space before or after the string. A nice Java application. Okay, so it removes the word space. So we can use the trim method. For example, if I have like two strings like this, a string str3 equals to Java. Okay, I have to compare like both of these values. So if I compare because of this white space, it shows that like the values are different. But if I want to compare like by removing the white space, then I have to use this one str2 dot trim. Okay, str2 dot trim dot okay equals str3. Okay, if we compare this like this, then it will return true. Okay, true. Both values are same because we are removing this white space using this trim method. Okay, so that is one more like trim is like one more method. Okay, so how do we use split? Okay, we can use split based on and we can split a string based on some value. Okay, now how many objects will be created by the following? Okay, so okay, I have created something like this. Okay, so how many objects are created by using this one? Anyone? Hello, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, I think there are two different string with the very like addresses are different and values are I think same.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there will be two objects.
No, see, it's a string literal, right? We are not using new keyword here. So,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. One
first
object.
this value will be created. Okay, first this object
Yeah, yeah,
will be created. Once this object is created, again it is the same value, right? So it will just assign the reference value to this string str1. So only one object will be created by this.
yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah. What is the difference between equals and double equals to operator? Okay, equals means it compares the actual values of the actual contents of the object. Okay, when we use the double equals to operator, it compares the references of the values. Equals method is used for objects. Okay, and the double equals to method is used for comparing primitive data types. Okay, okay. Now, yeah, is string class final? Yes, string class is final. Just remember this one. Okay, string is a final class actually. Okay, that means like you cannot create inherited classes for string class. Okay, so how to check if a string is empty? Okay, we can use dot is empty method. Okay, for example, I have created a new string object like this. Okay, string str1 is equal to new string of empty string I have created. Okay, so if you want to check like if the string is empty, you can use is empty method. Okay, or we can check the length of the string also to find if the string is empty. Okay, if the length of the string is also we can use. Okay, so these are like two methods. How to convert? Okay, how to convert a string into int? What method we use? If it is a numeric string,
Percent.
yeah, integer dot parseInt. Okay, integer dot parseInt. This is what we use. Okay, what if like if it is not a numeric string but we use integer dot parseInt? What happens? It will throw number format exception. Okay, it will throw number format exception. We have seen this one, this number format exception. Okay, similarly, how to convert a string to a double? We have something called double dot parse double. Okay, we can use this one. Double dot parse. How we convert a string to an integer? Integer dot parseInt. Similarly, to convert an integer to a double, we have double dot parse double. Okay, so the main questions like in strings that you will get is like now how do we compare like two strings? Okay, what is the difference between using like double equals to a symbol operator and equals method? Okay, and how do you convert a string to an integer? So these are the kinds of questions like you get. Okay, in strings. Okay, so these are the ones about like strings. Now let us go into the next chapter. the next chapter is okay, arrays. Okay, so what is an array? Array in Java. Okay, an array is nothing but it's a collection of similar types of elements. Similar types. Array is a collection of similar types. For example, I want to create an array of integers. That means it contains only integers. If you create an array of integers, it contains only integers. You cannot add another data type to it. For example, you cannot add a byte or you cannot add a short. Okay, it has to be integer. So an array is a collection of similar type of elements. Java array is an object which contains elements of similar data types. It is a data structure where we store similar elements. We can store only a fixed set of elements in a Java array. That means once you declare, okay, the length of the array, for example, I want to store 3 elements into that array. That means only 3 elements you can store. You cannot increase those number of elements or you cannot decrease those number of elements. Okay, so that means array size is fixed. Okay, so the two things about arrays are array is a collection of similar type of elements, same type of elements, and array size is fixed. We cannot change the array size once we declare this. Okay, so what are the advantages? Code optimization and the random access. Disadvantage is only fixed size of elements can be stored in an array. Only fixed number of elements can be stored in an array. Okay, so what are the types of array that we have? We have single dimensional array and we also have multi-dimensional array. We'll see this one. Okay. Okay. Now, how do we declare an array? Okay, for declaring an array, we'll do it like data type and then square brackets and then array. Okay, so for example, if it is an integer data type, we use int square brackets and then a name to that array. Okay, or we can also declare it using data type space square brackets and then name of the array, or we can also declare it as data type space name of the array and then square brackets. Okay, this is how we can declare an array. These are the 3 ways we can declare an array. Okay, so how do we instantiate the array? Okay, once we declare this one, we will use this name of that array reference variable equals to new. Again, we have to use data type square brackets and then we have to mention the size of that array. This is how we'll instantiate an array. Let me show you an example. Okay, so let me go here. Let me create a new package here, new package, and I'll say array example. Okay, in the array example, I'll create new class here, array example 1. Okay, I'm making it as public. I'm using this method public static void main. Okay, so let me declare an integer array. So first what I have to do, I have to write the data type. Okay, and then I have to use square brackets. Okay, let's say the name of the array is this one. Okay, so I have declared an integer array here. Now I have to instantiate this one. So I will use this arr1 is equal to new int. Okay, and I would like to store 3 values into this. So I'll say 3, new int of 3. So int square brackets arr1, this is the declaration, and then I'm instantiating this array arr1 is equal to new int of 3. Okay, this is how I can instantiate an array. And then in order to store the okay, so now the thing is that I can store only 3 integers into this, which are of the type int data type. Okay, so if I want how can I access those 3 values? arr1 square brackets it starts from the index 0. We use index values, not 1, 0. Okay, so arr0 equals to, let's say it is the value 10 I am storing. Similarly, arr1 of 1 Okay, the second value we are storing it, and the second value is 20 we are storing. Similarly, error 1, okay, of 3 equals to 30. Okay, got it? Now, if I want to print these values, system.out.println, I can print these individual values. Error 1 of 0, I can print it. Okay, that means the first value in the array run as Java application, and it will print, sorry, something, oh, sorry, this is not 3. Okay, this is 2. Okay, because the maximum number of values that we can store are 3, right? Because we have declared this one as 3 here. Okay, so that's why it starts from the index 0. So 0, 1, 2. That is what I have to store. So if I run this one now I will get error 1 of 0 value, which is 10. Okay, now if I run this one again, 1. Okay, now it will give me the value 20. Okay, similarly I can print the next value, which is 2. Okay, if I run this one, run as Java application 30. Okay, understand this one, everyone? Array in Java, how do we instantiate, how do we declare an array, how do we instantiate an array, and how do we assign the values to the array? Okay, any questions so far on this one? Okay, fine. Now, okay, so we have seen, like, how to yeah, declare an array, how to instantiate. Okay, what we can do is we can directly do this in one sentence. Okay, we can do it like uh, instantiating and declaration and instantiation. New int of 3. We can do it directly instead of, okay, instead of do it in two statements, we can do it directly. Okay, declaration and instantiation. Okay, this is also you can do, and we can assign the values to that array. Okay, or we can also do it like instead of like a declaration, instantiation, and initial. This is called initialization. Okay, we are initializing the array. We can do all these three things in one statement. Okay, what we can do is, so let us say, okay, let me comment this one, and also let me comment all this. Okay, we can do it by using like this. Okay, we open and close flower brackets, and I can say 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay, we can do this way also. So here what we did was we have created an array with three integer values 10, 20, and 30. So everything, declaration, instantiation, and initialization are all done in just one statement here. So if you want to create an array, you can create directly like this: int, okay, square brackets, and then space, the name of the array equals to, in flower brackets, okay, something, some value, some integer value. So if I run this application now, again I will get 10, 20, and 30. Got it? Okay. Now let me show you how do we create an array of float values. Let's say, okay, float. Okay, so some err2 equals to, okay, so 45.4f, okay, and the 32.7f, okay, and 67.66 f, okay, and 89.32 f. So this is how you can create an array of floats. So, and I can print out the values. Here are 2 of 0. Okay, I want to print the first value 45.4. Run as Java application. Okay, 45.4. This is how you create an array of floats. And if you want to create an array of strings, so what we will do? String, okay, error 3 equals to, let us say I can create an array like this. So for strings we have to use double quotes. So in flower brackets, double quotes, Java, okay, and Selenium, comma, okay, tutorials. Okay, like this I can use. And if I want to print the value, okay, system.out.println ARR, okay, 3 of 0. That means I'm printing the first value, which is Java, run as Java application. Okay, so Java. So this is how we can create an array of strings. Okay, any questions? Anyone? Any questions on the arrays? How we create an array? Okay, fine. Now let me go into the next one. Okay, so
So,
here, yeah,
sorry. So, like, like how we are initializing actually there itself in the program. How
yeah.
about if we have to take the input from the keyboard? Do you think that is not necessary for us?
No,
No,
okay, it's
at
not
this stage?
necessary actually. No,
Okay,
it's not necessary because when we are doing the actual Selenium scripts, okay, we don't take any input from keyboard. You got it? Okay.
yeah, yeah. Usually for the
You-
programs, we used to do like that, but okay,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, we can take the input, well, for even for the main method also, we can take the input from the keyboard, but it's not needed actually in Selenium.
okay,
Okay, in
that's
Selenium,
fine.
whatever, the values that you use, you'll declare it initially in a file, like a properties file. We'll see that, what properties file is. Okay,
Okay,
we'll declare all of them in the program itself. So once you
okay,
just, click the start button, it will start executing. That's it. You won't
okay,
you won't normally provide any input from the keyboard in the middle of the execution of the script.
okay, okay. I understand. Okay,
Okay, we can still do
thank you.
that, but we don't generally do that one. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Okay. Now, uh, yeah. So we have seen how to create an array, okay, with the different sizes. So if you see here, the size of the array is 3 because it is holding 3 values. In place of these floats, the size of the array is 4, okay, because it is holding 4 values. So like that, initially, once you declare this one, you cannot add a new value to this one. Okay, you have declared here. If you see, we have declared that the size of the array is 3. You cannot add a fourth value to this array. Okay, similarly here the size is 4. Okay, in though you are initializing initially, so the number of values that you are giving initially, that is nothing but the size of that array. So here the size is 4, so you cannot add a fifth value to it, or or you cannot make the size of this array as 3. Okay, similarly this also. Okay, so that means arrays are of fixed size. Okay, for example, okay, for example, let us say I have this. Let me comment all these things. Okay, let us say I have this one. Okay, so what is this one? Like I have declared an array of size 3 and I am adding 3 values to it. For example, what if I try to add a new value to it, one which is 3? Okay, 3 is equal to 60. Let us say I'm adding 60 to it. Okay, so what happens in this case, if I run this one, okay, it will give me an exception here, which is array index out of bounds exception. Okay, index 3 is out of bounds for length 3. It is saying that, okay, this can hold only 3 values. We cannot add a fourth value to this one. That's why it is saying array index out of bounds exception. Okay, that means index 3 is out of bounds. This index 3 is out of bounds for this array. Okay, so arrays are of fixed size. Okay, we have something called collections. We'll see it in the next chapters, where we can add dynamic values, dynamic length we can create. Okay, but arrays are of fixed size and they are a collection of same type of variables, same type. Okay, whether variables or objects or anything, but they are a collection of similar type. Okay, now, yeah, okay, yeah. So how do we find the length of an array using the method dot length? Not a method, but this is I mean, it's an instance variable for array. But using dot length, we can find the length of that array. Okay, let me show you this example. So here, like I have added three values, right? So system dot out dot println. So I'll say length of the array is okay. I'll say plus arr1 dot length I can use. Okay, so dot length. Okay, arr1 dot length. So if I print this one, run as Java application. Okay, so length of the array is 3. So we can use dot length on an array to find out the length of the array. Okay, okay, and after that, after the length of the array, we can declare we can declare instantiate and initialize an array in the following way. Okay, we have seen all three things. We can do it like in a single statement. We can do this one. Okay, we have seen this one. And yeah, so now let us see how to pass an array to a method. How do we pass an array to a method if we want to pass an array? Let me just example how to iterate through an array, how to loop through an array and get each value. Okay, new class array example 2. Okay, so now let us say I have an array. Okay, so which is an integer array int. Okay, int, let us say the name is arr1. Okay, so I have created an array like this. Okay, I would like to loop. If I want to access the array values, how do I do it? I use arr, use index, right? Arr print system.out.println arr 1 of 0. Okay, similarly arr 1 of 1. Like this, I'll go. So the first value is 0 because using the index we will access those values. Okay, so the first value is 0, index is 0. Next one, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, we'll use these indexes to print the values. So how can we iterate through this array and get all the values one by one? So we can use a for loop on this one. Okay. For int I equals to 0. That means we are starting with 0th index. Now I have to use the length of this one. So what I can do, I can use the length arr1 dot length. Okay, I is less than arr1 dot length, and then I can increment this I value I plus plus. Okay, so here what we are doing, I'm saying let's start with index 0 and iterate it until the I value is less than the length of this one. So what is the length of this one in this case? It is 6, right? So length is 6. Okay, okay, length is 6 here. Okay, so I can use arr1 dot length, but I have to use less than that one because the maximum index is 5 only. So I am using I is less than, not less than or equal to. Here we are using I is less than arr1 dot length and then I plus plus. Okay, this is what we have to use. Okay, once we do this one, then we can say system dot out dot println arr1 of I. I'm using the variable I, arr1 of I. That means when the value of I becomes 0, it will print arr1 of 0. So it prints 1. Okay. Then I value becomes 1. So it prints arr1 of 1. So it prints 2, the value at index 0. So if I run this one, okay, now run as Java application, and it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is how we can loop over an array. Okay, now how do we pass an array to a how do we pass an array to a method? Let us say I have this array. I would like to create a method where I will access each of these individual values and add them up and return the sum of all these elements in this array. Okay, so I'm creating another method which is public, which gives me an integer back. Okay, which gives me an integer back. Okay, that means the sum of all the values, and then I'll say like a public int add array values. Okay, this is my method. Okay, I'm creating this method. Okay, it is throwing an error because we are saying that okay, we are returning an integer, but we are not doing anything. That's why initially it gives an error. So the method must return the type of int. Okay, for the time being, let me say return 0. Okay, just to get away the error. Okay, return 0. We are returning this value 0. Okay, we'll change that one. Okay, now add array value. So what does it take? We have to pass this array to this one. So how do we pass it? If it is a normal integer parameters that we are passing, we can say int a, right? So, but we are passing an array. So we have to give the array value here. So we have to say int square brackets and give a name to this, okay, to this one. So I'll say some ARR2. I'm saying that means when I pass an array to this one, okay, it will be stored in this ARR2. Okay, so in square brackets we have to use. Generally, if we pass just an integer value, what do? We'll say this one as some int. Similarly, if we have to pass a float value, we'll say float ARR2. Similarly, if we want to pass a double value, we'll say double. Similarly, if we want to pass an array, we have to use that array type. So it is an array of integers. So I'll use int square brackets. Okay, this is of type integers. Okay, got this one, got this point? Any questions until this point?
That's clear, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. Now let me go here. So now once I have this one, I have this ARR2, all the whatever the array that we are passing, I'll have it like in this one. Okay, so I have to access like each and every value of this array, and I have to add it to some value. So initially I will declare something like int sum is equal to 0. Okay, this is the initial value. Okay, that, and then I am returning this is sum only. Okay, initially the values of sum is 0. Okay, now I will use a for loop for, okay, ARR, sorry, for int I equals to 0, I is less than ARR2 dot length, okay, I plus plus. Okay, that means I am accessing each and every element of this array. Okay, now what I will do, sum equals to sum plus, yeah, sum plus ARR2 of I. That means I'm accessing each and every element of this array and I'm adding it to the variable sum. So initially sum value is 0. Okay, for example, if the first element of this array is 1, 0 plus 1, so sum value will becomes 1. And if the second value is 2, and so it becomes a sum plus 2, so 1 plus 2, it becomes 3. Like this, it will add all those values and it will return the sum. Okay, so this is how we can pass an array to a method. Now let us call this method add array values method. Okay, we have this array. Okay, let me call this method. How do we call this method? Add, yeah, okay, but again the thing is that this is a instance method. We are calling it in a static method. So how do we do it? We have to create an object for this one. Okay, so ARR ex2 object 1, okay, equals to new ARR object 2. Okay, so we have created an object. Now using this object, we will call this method obj1 dot add array values, and we'll pass this array 1 to this one. Okay, so we are passing this one. Okay, but this returns an integer variable. Okay, so we have to capture the return value, okay, into another. So I'll say int sum equals to this one. Okay, so I'm getting the sum. So now if I print this one, system.out.println, okay, sum is, okay, plus sum. Okay, so whatever the array that we are passing, all the values will be summed up here and returned, and it will return that sum. Okay, and we are capturing that into another variable here int sum, and we are printing the value of that one. Okay, now if I run this one, run as Java application, okay, it should print the sum of all these values 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. Okay, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21. Yeah, so it should print the sum. Okay, now it is printing the sum as 21. Okay, so do you understand this one, how to pass an array value to a method? Got this one? Or any
Yes.
Yeah, it is clear.
Okay, now let us say we are returning in integer here, but what if we want to return an array back? What if we want to return an array back? Let me show you an example here. So Control C, Control V, array example 3. Okay, now I have an array here. When I pass an array to a method, like that method should create squares of each and every element of this value and return that array back. Okay, so in this case, I have an array like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to create a method, and that method should return the squares of each and every. So you should return an array like 1, 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 25, 36. Like that, it has to return that array. Okay, so okay, so let me create an array. So we have created another method here, which says, like, return. I'll say return squares. Okay, so I'll say let me take out this one. Okay, return squares. So it has to return the squares of, like, and since it returns the squares of as an array, I have to say that it is if it is an integer, we will say like int, right? The return type is int. If it is a float, we say that return type is float. Similarly, if it is an array of integers, we will mention this one as square brackets. That means it is returning an array of integers. It is returning. So I'll say for the time being, I'll say that let me remove, like, this code here. Okay, and for the time being, I'll say that this is null. Okay, initially it is for object, since the default value is null, I'm saying that okay, initially it is returning null. Now I have to take this array, okay, and I have to create squares of each of these elements, and I have to return that back. So what I will do is I am capturing it into ARR2. Now I will create another array which is int, okay, int ARR3 equals to, again this should, okay, new int. Okay, here what I have to give, I have to give the length here. So the length is same as this ARR2 length. So I'll say ARR2 dot length. Okay, I have created an array like this. Okay, now I have to go over, like, each of these elements and create a square of that one, and I have to add it to ARR3. So I'll say for, okay, int I, okay, equals to 0, I is less than ARR2 dot length I plus plus. Okay, now in this one I will say ARR3 of I. That means the first value I'm creating in this one, in this new array, ARR3 of I, okay, equals to ARR2 of I, okay, star ARR2 of I. Got this one? See, I have passed the array into this arr2. Now I have to create squares of each of these element of this arr2 and store it in arr3. So arr3 will have the same size as that of arr2. So I am creating a new array arr3 equals to new int, and I have to provide the length of that array. So I am just giving the length which is same as arr2 length only. Okay, so error 2 dot length. Now I have to iterate over each element of this error 2, and I have to create squares for that, and I have to add it to error 3. Okay, so I have created a for loop here. Okay, the for loop is for int I is equal to 0, I is less than error 2 dot length. Okay, error 2 dot length comma I plus plus. Okay, this is what like I am iterating. Once I am iterating, at the same time within the loop I'm adding all these squares. So here this is arr2 of I star arr2 of I. What does it mean? It means I'm creating a square for this one. I'm adding it to this array elements. Okay, now once this is done, everything is done, then I have to I have to return this one arr3. Okay, this is what I have to do. Now I have created an array, and I have to call this method. How do I call this method? I use the method name return squares. Okay, in the return squares, I have to pass this array which is arr1. Okay, I am passing this one. So we cannot make okay, so we have to create an object here first, right? So the object is arr array ex3 equals to some, let us say, object 1, okay, equals to new. Okay, I have created an object and use this object name to call this method. Okay, object 1 dot. Okay, this is what, like, we are, but again it is returning an array here. It is returning an array. So I have to capture this one into an array. Let us say arr2 equals to, okay, so since this is returning an array, I have created another array object here to capture the return values from this method. Now what I can do, I can loop over this arr2, I can print the all the values. So again I will use a for loop for int. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, just give me. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I can loop over this one. Okay, for int arr for int again I can use it for int I is equal to 0. I is less than arr2 dot length. Okay, and then I plus plus. Okay, I can say system dot out dot println arr2 of I. Got it? Okay, now if I run this one. If I run this one, this is the array that I am passing. Okay, if I run this one, run as, okay, Java application, and it will print, okay, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Okay, all the squares I am getting back. Okay, any questions here? Or do you guys understand, or any question, or do you want me to explain it one more time?
It is clear for me, I guess.
Others?
So, could you explain one more time if you don't mind?
Yeah, okay, fine. So
Thank
what I want to create is, okay, I want to create a method which takes an array of integers, okay, and returns an array back. Okay, this is what I have to do. So I have created an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I have to pass this to a method which creates squares of each and every value of this array, and then return those values back as an array. Okay, so this is my array, initial array. Okay, so I have created a method here which says, like, return squares. It takes an array of integers. So I say here, like, it's an int square brackets array. Okay, array of integers, and it returns an array of integers. So I have to use int square brackets. Okay, it returns an array of integers. Until this point, you are right, you are clear, right, Suman?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now what I have to do is I have to return an I have to create squares and I have to return that. So I have created another array which is int square brackets arr3 equals to new int of what is the length of this array here? It is same as this length, this arr2 length, right? This is same as this arr2 length. So I have used arr2.length. Now what I have to do? I have to access each and every value of this arr2 and create squares for that one. So I have created a for loop here. For int I equals to 0, I is less than arr2.length I plus plus. Okay. I am accessing each and every value of this one arr2 of I star arr2 of I. Okay. This is what I am creating a square. But this one I'm storing it in ARR3 of I. So initially, if the I value is 0, so first it will get this ARR2 of 0 star AR of 2 of 0. So it will create a square for the first element in this array. And I am storing it in the first element of ARR3 of 0. Similarly, when the value of I becomes 1, it accesses the second element. So it creates a square for the second element, ARR2 of 1 star ARR2 of 1. Okay. And it stores that value in ARR3 of 1. Okay, like that it stores all the squares in the new array that we have created. Once we did it, like we are returning that new array arr3. Okay, this new array, so this is the return type we are using. Once we get this one, we are creating another like array object here to store the returned array into this new array. Once we got this one, we have created a loop, simple loop to print each and every value of this arr2. Understand this one? Or do you want me to explain like one more time?
And if so, ARR3 is returning actually from the method actually, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and that is coming and storing in the
ARR
main method where exactly
in ARR,
ARR2.
we can use like ARR3 also because this ARR3 is local to this one and this
Local variable.
ARR3
Okay.
will be local to this one. That is fine. Okay, that's not a
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
But it will be stored in some array again.
New array again to print it for the
Yeah, to
printing
store
purpose.
this. Yeah, for the printing purpose or for using it like somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
So
Got
we
it.
are just returning an array and we are storing it in because it is returning an array. We are have created a new array here and storing all that returned array in that new array, and we are printing the values of that new array, okay, which is where we are getting 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Okay, so this
Since
is
we
yeah.
Sorry, since we need it in the array format, that's when we have to created the array3 in the method. Is that right?
Yes, because I wanted to show you like how we return an array from a method. So we have created an array.
Okay.
Previously it was sum, right? That is
Yeah.
why we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
returning an integer here, not an
Normal
array.
integer. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it is a sum we are returning, but here we are returning an array of values. That is why I have created an array and I am returning it like int square brackets.
Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, fine. Now let's go into this one. Okay, so we have seen how to pass an array to a method. Okay, and we have also seen how to return an array from a method. Okay, array index out of bounds. We have seen this one. So when we try to insert a value into an array where it doesn't have that index, you will get that array index out of bounds value. Okay, we have seen this one in this exam. Yeah, so if we try to put it like in a ARR1 of 3, okay, equals to some, let's say 40, okay, it will give array index out of bounds exception. System.out.println, okay, array index out of bounds exception because this index 3 is out of bounds for this one because it can store only 3 value. Similarly, if you want to print something like, okay, system.out.println ARR 1 of 3. Okay, but the problem here is there is no index 3 here. The index ends at 2. So in this case also we'll get array index out of bounds exception. Okay, run as this one. So array index out of bounds exception. Okay, so array index out of, when you try to access an element which is not in the index of the array, then you get an array index out of bounds exception. Okay, so we have seen this one. How do we iterate over an array? We can use for loop. Okay, and there is also one more thing in the in loops which is called advanced for loop. Advanced for loop. Okay, so how do we do this? We'll see. Let us see that one. Okay, let me say new class. Sorry, class array example 4. Okay, so let us say I have an, let's take an array of strings. Okay, so array string and then square brackets. Let us say this is ARR 1 equals to, okay, I'm creating an array here which is, okay, Java, Selenium, and then tutorials. Okay, so how can we access each and every element of this array? We can use a normal for loop for int I is equal to, okay, 0, I is less than ARR 1 dot length, okay, I plus plus. Sorry, I have to use for int I equals to 0. Okay, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than ARR 1 dot length, okay, length gth. Okay, now I can say system dot out dot println ARR 1 of I. Okay, so this is what we have seen like in the previous programs, right? So we can use for loop and we can print each and every element of this array. Okay, so this is a normal like for loop. There is one more thing called advanced for loop. Okay, advanced for loop. Okay, in the advanced for loop, what we'll do is we'll use, okay, the data type of that particular element, okay, for of that array, and we'll use some array variable, and then we'll use that array name. Okay, let me show you this one. Okay, for, okay, what is the data type of this array? The data type is string, right? So I will say string, and then I will give a name, a variable name here. Let's say item I am giving, and then colon, I have to give the array name here. So ARR1. Okay, so what I'm doing is I have created a for loop. Okay, what is the data type of that array? The data type is string, and I'm giving a name to this one item colon ARR1. So what happens is each time, okay, it will loop through this entire array, and each time each value of this one will come and sit in this variable item. Okay, so so the first time the value of item becomes Java. The second time value of item becomes Selenium. Third time the value of item becomes tutorials. Okay, now I can say system.out.println item. Okay, so basically if we use this advanced for loop, it will loop through all the elements, and each and every time the value of this item becomes these values each and every time. Okay, so the first time it becomes a string item ARR1. Okay, so since this is a string, okay, we have created it as string. Okay, string item ARR1. So the item value first time becomes Java, it prints item, it prints Java. The second time it becomes Selenium, so it prints Selenium. Third time it becomes tutorial, so it prints tutorials. Okay, let me comment this initial for loop. Okay, let me run this one. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, Java Selenium tutorial. So this is advanced for loop. Do you guys understand this one, advanced for loop, or any questions? Okay, fine. So this is advanced for loop. Okay, now so we have seen like these two ways. Okay, now how do we sort elements in an array? Okay, we can sort the elements in an array using arrays.sort method. Okay, arrays.sort method. So for example, we have okay, again this is in alphabetical order only, but let us say like let me create a new class here. So class array example 5. Okay, so in this one I'll create a new main method, public static void main string args. Okay, so this is what a new method I have created. So this is public static. Okay, so in this one, let us say I have an array. Okay, so integer. Okay, some array arr1 equals to, let us say 49, 23, 76, 32, 64, 12. So like this. Okay, I have an array. Okay, and I would like to sort it in ascending order. Okay, so we can use something called arrays.sort. Okay, if I say system.out not system.out.println, so first we have to sort this one. Okay, so I have an array. Okay, arrays.sort. Okay, so I can directly use arrays arrays dot sort method, sort of arr1. Okay, so now this array will be sorted. Okay, now I can print this one, system.out.println, for printing an array directly, like without looping it. Okay, simple arrays only. Okay, this is for simple arrays only. I can use dot toString method on that array. So if I run this one, run as Java application. Okay, so this is again like printing. This is simple string only. It has to print like, but it is printing an object directly. Okay, we'll see. Okay, we'll loop over this one. Okay, we'll see this toString method later, but we'll for now let's loop over this one. Okay, we'll see for. Okay, what is the data type? Let's use the advanced for loop here. So what is the data type here? The data type is integer. So for int I, okay, or like I can say item. Okay, and then arr1. Okay, system.out.println item. Okay, now if I print this one, run as Java application. Okay, it is 12, 23, 32, 49, 64, 76. Okay, that means this array is sorted in alphabetical order. Arrays dot sort of arr1. Okay, this is the method that we use for sorting an array. Okay, so here you can use anything like strings or like any other data type also. You can use this one. Okay, so what is the method that we use for sorting an array? We can use arrays.sort method. Okay, now the next one is, how do we search an array to check if an element exists or not? Okay, so for example, I have an array. Let me create like another class here, and that class name is arr array example 6. Okay, this is my array. Okay, so let us say I have something like a new array here, which is what is this one? Okay, yeah, searching an array, right? So let me take like a string array. Okay, string arr1 equals to, okay, Java Selenium tutorials. Okay, let us say this is my array. Okay, so in this array, I want to check if this array contains Selenium or not. So what I can do, I can create a normal for loop and take each and every value and check if the value is there or not. Okay, for int I equals to 0. Okay, for int I is equal to 0, I is less than error 1 dot length I plus plus. Okay, this is my array. In this one, let's print like each and every one of these values. So error 1 of I. Okay, this is my first time printing this one. Okay, Java Selenium tutors. Now I want to check if this array values contain a particular value called Selenium. Okay, so let us say if arr1 of I, okay, dot, what method I have to use? Since this is a string, I have to use equals method, equals, okay, Selenium. Selenium. Okay, I'll say system.out.println, system.out.println, the array contains Selenium. The array contains Selenium. And once I've done this one, once if this is equals, I don't need to verify the other values, right? So I can break out of this loop. Okay, I'll use break statement. Okay, I don't need to iterate further because we already know that it contains that particular word Selenium. So the array contains Selenium. Okay, so I can break out of this loop at this point. Once first it checks with Java. No, it doesn't match. Next it checks with Selenium. So it is matching. So it prints this one and it breaks out of the loop. Okay, so this is how we can use a for loop to check if an array contains a specific value or not. Okay, any questions on this one so far? Any questions, guys? Okay,
No,
fine. Yeah, fine. So the next way is so here you just check this example. I think here I have taken a boolean variable. Okay, boolean check is equal to false, and then I am making it true. And if it is true, then I am saying that it is found in the array or it is not found in the array. Okay, fine. Using okay, now the next way is using arrays dot binary search. Okay, we can use arrays dot binary search also to find if an array contains an particular element or not. Okay, that's fine. I'll go through it tomorrow. Okay, for now I'm stopping this one. Any questions so far? Everyone did you guys understand what this arrays concept is basically?
Yeah, it is
yes,
clear
yes.
actually.
Yeah, so it is an array is a collection of similar type of elements, and moreover, array is of fixed size. These are the two things that you have to remember. Okay, it is a collection of similar type of elements, and also it is of fixed size. The main disadvantage with arrays is it is a fixed size. We cannot add more values to an array, or we cannot decrease the number of values from an array. It is a fixed size. That is why we have another concept called collections, which is a very important one. We'll discuss them the remaining topics of these arrays and also collections tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay then. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.